No, you haven't got this wrong. This is me, and I'm silent because I've taken the sound down because I want you to look at the top left-hand corner of the screen and you'll see that the roof of my rolls, I noticed this on watching back these clips, was actually beginning to fall down. Well, being paranoid, I thought, oh my God, what's going on? Surrey police, my arch enemies who want to put me inside for any reason, have actually ripped it down and put drugs in there. So when I return to Europe, I will be searched, drugs will be found, and I'll be slapped into prison. I investigated and found out actually it was just the lining inside was falling down. And other than that, there were no drugs and no, I'm glad to say, Surrey police. But I found in Rabat, thanks to the King of Morocco and the palace, a place which specialised in luxury vehicles and sorted it out. So, as you can see, my roof of my Rolls-Royce is now absolutely perfect, has been completely fixed and cost about a tenth of what it would have cost in London. It's not just a travel show, as regular viewers of A Victim Bites Back will know by now. Yes, we look at individual places all around this trip of mine of 10,000 kilometres over several months, but we also talk about personal matters and general matters purporting to humanity and the world in general. I am a Londoner, born and bred. Actually, I'm a Cockney, technically. I was born within the sound of Bow Bells. I then stayed in London for a few months before my parents moved down to Surrey, where we lived, and I went to school. And then I returned to London, and I've lived in London basically as my home ever since. I'm now 78 years old, would you believe? Yes, we're in London again, back in London, or as I call it, civilization. Indeed, West 2 in London, civilization. And we're going to look at all sorts of things in Great Britain. I say the great sarcastically these days, for A Victim Bites Back, episode 16. I've been persuaded to keep going with these shows because of a massive input of people who asked various comments. Yes, baby car is indeed a Suzuki Cappuccino, and I adore it. That's what I'm driving around in. I'm glad those of you who've said you love seeing London, especially when you're far, far away, as you put it, on the other side of the world. And I'm glad that some of you seem to be enjoying my rather bizarre back catalogue, a lot of which are songs that you'll never have heard before, and probably will never want to hear again.
Nobody listened, but everybody danced. 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 I knew a boy down in Oklahoma City who used to play guitar for the enjoyment of friends. Happy little melodies, simple, inoffensive, that went round and round, merry tunes without end. But the words that he painted with drew pictures in the air, pretty patterns, lovely images to make the world stare. But when he expected to see friends in trance, found that nobody listened, but everybody danced. Everybody danced to the rhythms he played. Nobody noticed the pictures he portrayed, moving and a-grooving and ignoring his trade. Everybody danced to the music he made. He went. So he picked up his 12-string and slowed the pace down, but everybody shuffled and boogied along as he told tales of heartbreak and stories of loving. They wriggled and moved to the chords of his song. So he just shrugged his shoulders and strummed on his strings and enchanted himself with his words that had wings. He ignored all his audience except for a glance to see that nobody listened, but everybody danced. Everybody danced to the rhythms he played. Nobody noticed the pictures he portrayed, moving and a-grooving and ignoring his trade. Everybody danced to the music he made when he went. Ears of a New York producer who leapt on a jumbo and signed him that day. He would make him the king of the discotheque fever, 'cause the kid really rocked, really knew how to play. He deserted his lyrics for trivial licks and for funky arrangements with gimmicky tricks. When they rushed out his records, it happened by chance that everybody listened and nobody danced. Nobody danced to the rhythms he played. Everybody noticed the pictures he portrayed. Never moving, never grooving, appreciating his trade. But nobody danced to the music he made. He didn't go.
I have to admit, I rather miss the good old south of France, where I could lie in the sunshine and swim and enjoy the heat. But it's good to be back in London, even though I'm only here without my splendid Rolls-Royce and my friends in France that I always had a good time in. I do mix a lot with other people. And looking back at R. Kelly, remember R. Kelly? Well, I met him several times, once with my girlfriend at the time, Samantha Fox, and he seemed like a perfectly decent human being. I never really met him socially, but I'm absolutely sure that he is yet another of the victims of the false allegations industry, where people, often ladies, middle-aged ladies, invent or exaggerate encounters, basically in order not just to get lots of sympathy, but to get lots and lots of money. It's a cash cow, the false allegations industry, with lawyers, police, judges, all sorts of people, but especially the media, making an absolute fortune out of false allegations. I've got to admit, I'm never happier than wandering the busy streets. Lots of people around, lots of things to see, numerous vibrations, activity. Everything seems to be going on. One of the things I love about London is I'm getting to see lots of plays in all the wonderful theatres on Shaftesbury Avenue, and movies as well. But thinking about movies, I've been making movies now for the past 10 or 15 years using, as I do on this TV series, only a smartphone, sometimes assisted by a professional cameraman and sound man. Actors paid a minimal amount of money on a daily basis that they're happy to have, and myself sometimes playing various roles. But as a result, the films have got millions, literally millions of views online. Full-length videos, that is, right from start to finish of the film. And I think one of the reasons is because people know it's for free, so you don't have to pay a penny to watch them. And secondly, because they're available on all different kinds of sites, from anything you can imagine, YouTube and dedicated sites and everywhere else. I've had great fun making films, but this year I've noticed a lot of the films getting praise are films that have been sort of made in a similar kind of way.
The dance hall a long time ago, and I questioned my friends if they thought you would go. Well, they said if I asked you, they thought that you might. So I asked you this evening. We've been dancing all night, looking fine together, feeling fine together, dancing fine together. Together we'll stay. Don't you worry about her, she's just jealous that we're looking so fine together, that together we'll stay. But I've never had one that I've tried to call mine. Now we're looking so good, stomping here on the floor, that I think we should stay here and stomp evermore. Looking fine together, feeling fine together, dancing fine together. Together we'll stay. Don't you worry about her, she's just jealous that we're looking so fine together, that together we'll stay. Looking fine together, feeling fine together, dancing fine together. Together we'll stay. Don't you worry about her, she's just jealous that we're looking so fine together, that together we'll stay. Looking fine together, feeling fine together, dancing fine together. Together we'll stay. Don't you worry about her, she's just jealous that we're looking so fine together, that together
Brexit and Northern Ireland. It's all in the news at the moment. There's been the new Windsor Framework organised between the EU and the UK. My feelings on Brexit were always it was the most stupid, unimportant, trivial, small trade issue that never should have been put to a referendum. That was the serious mistake, because then the media picked up on it, built it up into something that was absolutely vitally important. Everybody, we all fall for the media, fell for the good story. All of us had strong opinions on Brexit. Personally, I didn't vote in the referendum because I thought I really don't know enough about it to make a judgment. I vote for people to take jobs as MPs, even civil servants, to learn about this and make the decision. I didn't really care one way or the other. I thought, look, Norway and Switzerland and lots of other countries do fine not in the EU, with links and connections and agreements and so on. We probably could do. But the one thing I felt was insane was to change. We were in the EU. Brexit was not going to happen. As a result, for heaven's sake, let's not spend millions changing it around when I didn't think it was that important. It was the change that could be a disaster. And so it actually proved. The other awful thing that it proved was that it tended to attract closet racists, and it also tended to attract those people who basically were only interested in themselves, and therefore they wanted to know certain things. So I thought Brexit was mad. However, I do have to agree that this Northern Ireland protocol was crazy. I didn't think it could ever happen. If Northern Ireland is part of the UK, you cannot have a border in the sea to it. So I think the Windsor Framework makes a lot of sense, ought to go through immediately. If the DUP objects, have a referendum in Northern Ireland. Do they want it or not? I bet you it's 95% yes, they want it. If the ERG, the group of right-wing Tories who don't like anything other than complete break from Europe and indeed everyone, if they object, who cares? There's only about 5 or 10 of them anyway, and they'll all lose their seats at the next election. For me, the entire Windsor Framework makes a lot of sense. Let's get this whole Brexit madness out of the way, get on with serious problems that need sorting out.
And of course, it's the media that's the villain, as usual. Now, when I say the media is a villain, it really isn't a villain. It's just doing what it naturally does, and that is exaggerate and inflate things in order to make them into a good story. So there you go, Brexit became a great story, although in fact it was just a silly, trivial, unimportant little trade issue. And I'm glad to say that those of us here in London voted against Brexit. We were very much Remain, as indeed were Liverpool, and of course the whole of Northern Ireland and Scotland. Most people, I think, agreed with me. A change was ridiculous, and it was also very rude. We are a part of Europe. We need to be a part of Europe economically, legally, and on every other level. I find it really offensive that we're trying now to remove the UK from the Human Rights Court because we believe that Britons are no longer humans. I mean, where are we going with this? It's insane. Anyway, there you go. I hope you've enjoyed show 16 of A Victim Bites Back and are not too annoyed by my ranting and raving on various assorted bits and pieces. See you again for show 17 if you're still tuning in. Ow!